A girl walks into an elevator and never comes out. She presses every button, peers out like she's being watched, then moves, suddenly, strangely, like someone's chasing her, or like someone's inside her skin. That's the last known footage of Elisa Lam. When her body is found weeks later in a water tank above the infamous Cecil Hotel, the questions explode. Was it mental illness? Was it murder? Or was it something darker? This is the story of a girl who vanished in plain sight, in the hotel that may never let go of its ghosts. Welcome back to Glow in the Dark, where beauty meets the bizarre, and haunted doesn't always mean abandoned. I'm Destiny, your host and your solo passenger in the haunted elevator of tonight's case. Some nights we unravel the mind, thread by thread, trying to understand what broke. Other nights we follow footsteps of a girl lost in a world that didn't see her clearly. And then, there are nights like this when perception fractures and the monsters wear a familiar face in the mirror. So grab your salt, light a candle, and let's open the elevator door, because what happened to Elisa Lam still echoes. So before we dive deep into this case, how did y'all like episode 1? I'm the worst critique on myself, so I would love to hear what you think. So please message me, leave a review, follow, share. Let me know. I want to know what y'all think. I noticed a few connection issues. I am working on it because I don't want that to move forward with any of our episodes. I want y'all to be able to listen as smoothly as possible because you won't believe what I have lined up for season 1. So if you're still here, first of all, thank you. I hope it haunted you in the best way possible. And welcome back, Darklings. I'm so glad you made it through the glamour and gore with me. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, thank you for being here. I truly appreciate everyone's support. Y'all picked a very strange, chilling, and beautiful place to land. But I think you're all gonna love it here. Elisa Lam was 21, a Canadian college student from Vancouver who loved Tumblr, books, fashion, and poetry. She was vibrant online, witty, introspective, full of quotes and vulnerable journal entries. She also struggled. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression, Elisa had been prescribed multiple medications: mood stabilizers, antidepressants, antipsychotics, and according to her family, sometimes she just stopped taking them, or she would adjust the dose herself without telling anyone. She blogged about her mental health, about how isolating it could be, how she felt like a burden, how she wanted to feel real again. In January 2013, she booked a solo trip to California, part to escape, part soul-searching. She stopped in San Diego, went to the zoo, took photos, and then she headed for Los Angeles. Elisa checked in to the Cecil Hotel on January 28th. Now, let's pause here for a minute. I'm sure if you're here, you have all heard about the Cecil Hotel. For one, that is my great-grandpa's name, which is pretty amazing. Cecil. Anyways, the Cecil Hotel is infamous. This wasn't just any hotel. It's located in downtown LA near Skid Row. It's a 700-room labyrinth with a brutal history. Suicides, overdoses, unsolved deaths, and 2 known serial killers, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Underweger. Oof, I probably ruined that name. But They both lived here while actively murdering. In fact, the hotel had so many issues, it rebranded itself as the Stay on Main just to distance itself from that name. Elisa was initially assigned to a shared room, but almost immediately, things went wrong. Her roommates began complaining. According to the hotel manager, Elisa left bizarre notes around the room. Things like, "Go away," and "Get out." She allegedly locked her roommates out. Her behavior was described as paranoid, erratic, and unsettling. Within days, she was moved to a private room. And let's be honest, this Cecil isn't exactly where you want your manic episode to hit, right? It already has its own history. It doesn't need our crazy added to it. But I just can't get over the fact that they had shared rooms. Shared rooms. There's people that you don't know asleep next to you in that room. Probably not the same bed, but that's not the point. That is not the point. There's no way I'd be able to go to sleep. The hotel already has a brutal history, and now I'm in a strange room with a stranger. No, it couldn't be me. I mean, I'd probably stay at the hotel, but definitely not a shared room. Definitely not. But the strange behavior didn't stop. She was escorted out of a taping of a TV show for acting strangely. She allegedly shouted in the lobby, "I'm crazy, but so is LA." The last confirmed sighting of her was on January 31st at the last bookstore. She chatted with the staff, bought gifts for her family, and disappeared. A few days after Elisa vanished, her parents, who didn't hear from her, contacted the LAPD. The searches began. Officers checked her room, her belongings, including her phone, wallet, and medications. They were still there. The police used scent tracking dogs. They searched the building, the rooftop, even the fire escape. Nothing. Then, they released a video. Elevator surveillance footage from January 31st, the last time Elisa was seen, and it went viral. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but I've seen it about 1,000,000 times whenever it first aired, and then recently, whenever I was researching this, I watched it probably a couple hundred more times because it is just still baffling. So in the video, she steps into the elevator and presses multiple buttons, which is not normal because when you get in an elevator, you press one button and ta-da, you get where you're going. But anyways, she steps into the elevator, presses multiple buttons, hides in a corner, and then peeks out as if there's someone in the hallway. She jumps in and out of the elevator, gestures wildly like she's arguing with someone we can't see. At one point, she makes strange hand movements, slow, wide, almost hypnotic. Then, she vanishes from the frame. The door closes, the elevator descends, and that was it. Millions of people have watched that video, and the theories exploded. Was she being followed? Was she high? Was it supernatural? Was she hallucinating? Watch the video and tell me what you think, because honestly, it's just crazy. How do you vanish from an elevator? On February 19th, nearly 3 weeks after Elisa vanished, guests at the Cecil started complaining. The water pressure was low, the tap water tasted off, and the color? Black. Guests described the water as tasting foul. Some said it had a strange smell. Others noticed it ran black for a few seconds before turning clear. The maintenance was called to the rooftop water tanks, and what they found inside was Elisa Lam. Naked, face up, dead in the tank. Her clothes were nearby, floating. Her watch and room key were also recovered, and immediately The questions raged. The rooftop was supposedly secured. You needed a key and a passcode to access it. And the tank? Heavy, difficult to climb, no ladder inside. So, how did she get in? The autopsy concluded Elisa died by accidental drowning, with her bipolar disorder listed as a significant contributing factor. There were no signs of trauma, no signs of sexual assault, no alcohol or illegal drugs in her system. But here's the thing. Toxology also showed that her prescription medications were either missing or present at levels too low to be therapeutic, which means that she hadn't been taking them properly. So that means that her behavior, the paranoia, the fear, the frantic movements, that could have been a full-blown psychotic episode. But something still didn't sit right. How did she open that water tank? Why weren't the dogs able to detect her scent on the roof? And why were her clothes off? But the LAPD stood by the accidental death ruling. But the internet? They weren't convinced. Okay, well, we're going to pause here for a second, and I'm going to let you know a little something about me. Because I know firsthand what happens when you mess with your meds. I live with borderline personality disorder, depression, and 3 types of anxiety. It's all diagnosed, and I am medicated. You don't just stop taking that medicine cold turkey, because you don't just feel weird. In some cases, depending on the medication and what dosage you're on, you can go into full withdrawal. And if you know what that means, then you know. You get these things that I call like brain zaps. You'll forget names, you'll forget places, you'll forget where you're going when you're driving. It is not safe at all. At all. You'll hallucinate shadows. You'll slip into this version of yourself that is not you. You'll feel like a ghost. It's like you're hovering above yourself, like it is not going to be you at all. So when Elisa started spiraling, switching rooms and whispering at people, and freaking out in the elevator, I didn't see just the mystery. I saw the warning signs. And that part breaks my heart. Because she was in a haunted hotel. She didn't need a haunted hotel. She needed help. Was it a tragic accident? An untreated episode of mania? Or did someone follow her? Here's what's been discussed. Misadventure due to mental illness, paranormal influence, foul play, hotel negligence. What do you think? Now we're going to do a slightly deeper dive into that investigation and those missteps, because some of it just doesn't add up to me. I don't know about you, but how does scent tracking dogs not track a scent? Like, you're trained to do that, pupper. What are you doing? Anyways, so as we mentioned earlier, they found all of her belongings in her room. They swept the common areas, they brought in those scent tracking dogs, and yes, they did search the rooftop. But the dogs never alerted to the water tanks, and according to the hotel staff, the roof was supposedly checked early on with no results. That means Elisa's body was in the water tank for over 2 weeks, while guests were drinking, bathing in, and brushing their teeth with that water. Ugh. Ugh. No. No, no, no. 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 Now, the investigation timeline had some, let's call it, concerning gaps. The elevator footage, it wasn't released until 2 full weeks after Elisa vanished. And when it was, it had been edited. A full minute is missing. The timestamp is warped. The video appears slowed in some places, with unclear justification. Some believe this was a police error. Others think it was deliberate, to hide a guest's identity. But it cracked open a floodgate of conspiracy. Internet sleuths pored over the footage frame by frame, some out of care and some out of obsession. The Cecil's past became a character, and the LAPD became a target of criticism. Why was the elevator footage tampered with? Why didn't anyone check the tanks more thoroughly? Why was the footage released before confirming Elisa's death? There was also confusion about how she even got to the tanks. The rooftop door was locked and armed. Staff claimed it couldn't be accessed without a passcode and a key. Yet, Elisa got through, undetected. Investigators later suggested she may have used the fire escape, which had no alarm. A guest reportedly demonstrated it was the easiest way to climb. But still, it doesn't explain how no one noticed. And when the maintenance worker finally found her body, he was just doing routine checks after guest complaints, not following a police lead. In other words, this discovery wasn't due to detective work. It was just dumb luck. And that's what makes this whole thing feel even darker. Because for 19 days, Elisa was right there, above them, invisible, while the hotel carried on. We'll do a deeper dive in a future episode, but here's what you need to know. The Cecil Hotel has a body count, and Elisa's wasn't the first, or the last. Serial killers lived there. People died by suicide there. One woman leapt from a window and crushed a pedestrian below. The hotel's history is steeped in tragedy. Amy Price was a hotel manager there for 10 years, and over those 10 years, she experienced about 80 deaths. It's been called cursed, doomed, rotten at the foundation. Even its rebranding as Stay on Main couldn't shake the ghosts. And when you mix that kind of energy with a girl in crisis, you get a story the world can't stop watching. Have you ever stepped into an elevator and felt watched, like something else got in too? What would you do if it didn't want you to leave? Okay, so before we wrap everything up, there's just one thing I have to say. I don't know how they drank tap water. I don't know. Call me judgy, call me whatever, but I don't drink it. It's not for me. I'm not made for it. I can't do it. I have like a million cases of water in my house. I love water. I drink water all the time. But tap water? Ugh. No, absolutely not. No. But with that being said, I would still stay at the Cecil Hotel. I don't know. It's like a little personal goal of mine. I have always wanted to stay a few nights at the Cecil Hotel. I just want to see if I experience anything, if I see anything, hear anything out of the ordinary. I just want to know. I want to go. Would you go? Would you stay the night at the Cecil Hotel? Let me know. Tonight's ritual is a little different. Not glam, not bold, but vital. Because not every monster is out there. Some live in your own head. Pour yourself a glass of water. Not tap water. Sorry. I had to say it. Sorry. Focus, Destiny. Pour yourself a glass of water. Clean, safe, and grounding. Take your meds, if you're prescribed them, and breathe. Wrap yourself in something soft and say, I am safe, I am seen, I am staying, because you deserve to stay. And if you're in the dark right now, there's still a way out. Thank you for walking in the shadows with me tonight. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health, please know you're not alone. Help exists. Hope exists. And so does the next sunrise. And don't hesitate to message me if you feel comfortable. Subscribe, leave a review, and tag me on Instagram at Glow in the Dark Podcast if this episode lit something in you even if it hurt. And next time, we're shifting gears to obsession, to control, to a love story that turned lethal. Can you guess? Until then, stay radiant, even in the dark.